Welcome back to the Community Review on Hot 92.3. I'm Josefa Salinas, your host. Today we're doing a profile of life and success, an amazing profile. This woman came to the United States a short 20 years ago with nothing more than $40 in her pocket from China. Kathy Hao is with us. She's talking to us about China, a China that none of us could even imagine. Can you believe that in the late 1980s, she was sent off to Europe for a major company that she was working for, and she had never seen a computer? Kathy, tell us some of the other differences between China and the United States and the changes that you've seen in your travels back to China now.
You know, it's changing, and people are using Twitter kind of, social media. Facebook, I don't think is accessible in China, but China use a social media called Weibo, Weibo, which is equivalent to Twitter. And that's popular used. So with the social changes, with the globalization, and China is catching up. And I've seen the wealth, incredible wealth, and the private wealth. $25 is, for young generations in China, they wouldn't believe me. They would say I'm lying. So,
right.
because they have never seen anything smaller than $25,
right.
For anyone who was born since 90s. And, in China, a lot of with the changes, with the modernizations, with the computers, of course, it's unstoppable. It's everything is changing dramatically and quickly. For kids, I can do a comparison of my children and the children in China. Both of my daughters went to public schools and most of their lives, and their schools. My daughters went to the school. I think it's 2,500 students, and that's fairly big high schools in our standard. And I've been working with high schools in China. I have clients who's working as exchange students program directors. Most of the high schools, especially public high schools, the population of students are about 25,000 to 35,000 students. And in the educational system is another element of social difference too in China. In China, the competition starts from elementary school, because the schools, we got such a big population. China has 1.3 billion people, and every family by law could only have one child. So one child will be pampered by 6 adults, pair of parents and 2 pairs of grandparents. They all want their children to be better, and they would shower them with anything they want. So the competition starts from elementary. If you know anyone in China, probably most children will tell you, or the parents will tell you, most of the children are going to learn English as extra curriculum. Start from elementary school, they would go to those classes and they would learn music, they would learn dancing, they would learn whatever the parents can afford, and they would give them the opportunity. But with that kind of talents and opportunities, it's still competitive because everyone has the same kind of goal. And it's hard to get to a good elementary school. You have to take a national examination in order to pass the elementary school, and based on the score, you can be accepted by or selected by a better middle school and so on, and go into a high school. And high school, if you do better, you have to take a national entrance exam, which is like our bar exam. Is really difficult 3-day exam.
To get into high school?
To get to college.
Oh, college.
In order just to pass to get a grade, to get a score. But then school will select based on the scores of national entrance exam in order to send them to different schools. Mm-hmm. When I was in China, I had my bachelor's in China, and I took national entrance exam in 1981. And a passing rate at that time for those who can go to college or selected to go to college was 2%. Now, probably about 80%, last time I heard, it was 80% students can go to college. So that's the difference. They have a lot of colleges built up, but good colleges are still very hard to get into, just like Ivy League schools here. It's very highly competitive. And students will have to really work hard. Not only that, there are other educational system problems, with such a competition market. And of course, there are other issues coming up, how you get to not only grade is not enough. You have to be have other talent, or parents have to contribute financially to the school in order for them to go to school. And children are all on the social media, and that's for sure. And children are get on the Weibo in China and here on the Facebook. And that's so people start to interact, start to communicate, and they start to merge. Most youngsters know Lady Gaga, and most of the kids in China know Justin Bieber. So that's something that we never had experienced when we were in China. The only person, the pop star when I was in China that I knew of was Michael Jackson. And I didn't know anybody else. If anyone, now I still have trouble when someone tells me about old rock star or rock band. I would have trouble to know them because I've never heard of them before when I was 27 years old. So that's, it's everything's changing. I can go on and go on and on about China. So it's just, it's amazing. It's mind blowing.
Now, what are some of the, let's say, the cultural shocks that kids would get when they would come here? Because I know that there's, we talked about 100,000 students come to visit just in the LA area from China every summer. And what are some of the things that they would find here that they would immediately just go, whoa, that I've never seen that before?
The first time they get off the airplane, I think the major difference they see was how great the freeway is here.
Okay.
We do have a lot of, the freeways, and we do have traffic, unless 4 or 5, but most of the other time you really see traffic could move, which is different in China now. They have so many cars in China with the limitation. Every family now, I think since last year, could only buy 1 car in China.
Oh, they regulated that now.
They regulated because of the problem. So that's something that students, when they first come here, they will see, okay, yes, the freeway is different. Of course, food regulation. I'm talking about the positive shocks, and food regulation here is so much better than in China. We feel safe to go out and eat. We would never have to think, okay, this milk has some poisonous elements in there or ingredients, or the beef is not real beef. And that's what happened a few months ago in China. In the market, they see beef are fake beef. They were actually selling pork, and they use special color and ingredients injected to the meat and make it look like beef.
Oh, well, you get a big slap in the hand and a fine here if you did that. Jeez.
Exactly. So that's something that they also feel that's why a lot of children who came here decided to come here permanently at some point of their life, is they feel much safer. They feel safer here to eat. They feel safer here to be protected. But with the social media in China, of course, a lot of those issues, is such a big country, it's hard to manage. We could all understand. But with the social media, a lot of issues now are brought to the governmental officials' attention. I don't know if you heard about recent incidents in south part of China. One toddler,
yes, who didn't see that,
was killed
yes,
by this car, ran over twice, and there are 18 onlookers and passerbys, and didn't do anything.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because they're saying that there are some real cultural reasons why they did not stop to help the little girl. And maybe we can talk a little bit about that. If you don't know, on YouTube, there was a YouTube video of a little girl who wandered out into the street. A truck hit her, and then I believe the truck ran over her again.
Yes.
And a lot of people walked by and did nothing until finally someone did do something. So let's talk about what happened. Why could something like that happen?
Well, I think it's not cultural background, but more of a social background and the social issues that a lot of people are facing. Because the law is not complete, is not, there lack of regulations in certain things, and the law is not as enforceable as we have here. And I have heard that the reason being that is that you hear a lot of reports about people try to help another person and end up to be the person to be blamed. And for example, if someone fell and this person went to help this person, the person who fell, and this person who fell turned around and says she was hit by this person who tried to help her because of those issues and trying to get money. So it's money-driven element in human personality or character, and that's what caused the social problem. And that's I believe that's the main reason why 18 people passed by, saw noticed this little toddler dying. No one dared to go there, just try to help. And the final person, I guess, who tried to get help was the person who was picking cans or trash. And that lady finally made a call to ambulance. And the little girl, of course,
Passed
died.
away, yes.
Yeah, passed away. They couldn't save her anymore. But, that's social. I think it's more social problem because Chinese are not the kind of culture that, they refuse to help people or they're not to help people or don't want to help people. I'm sure when they see it, they want to help by nature. But it's just the social problem. They don't want to be in trouble. They don't want to cause trouble, or they don't want to be blamed. And that's what happened. And I think that's the main reason. That's the social. I think it's more of a social problem than cultural problem.
Now, because of that incident, and because clearly it got worldwide coverage. Millions of people have seen this YouTube video. Has that put pressure to address the issue and maybe make some changes?
Yes, I have seen follow-up reports on that. And of course, it became a focus on the governmental officials on where is moral characters of people anymore? Where is the standard for the society as a whole? And I've seen a lot of calling on the attention to that, but I have not seen any regulations. I was in China 2 years ago, and I was having lunch with my friend who is a lawyer in China. And he got a call during lunchtime, and I heard him saying, call the police. What did the police say? Okay, how much did the police say you should pay? That's all I heard over the phone, what he said. So after that, and because I'm a lawyer by trade, so I kind of wanted to know what happened with personal incidents like this and what's the normal procedure in China. He said, my friend was involved in an automobile accident and he was calling me because the police is there and the police issues fine there on spot. There's no hearing. There's no litigation. There's no investigation. The police was there and make the decision, a final decision, whose fault and how much the person should pay.
Wow.
And that's what happens if you don't have a judicial system that could protect people, and people will have no faith in the system. And people will cause the reaction to what they do when they see certain things that may cause for any act.
Well, wow. Now I understand a little bit better.
Yes.
I mean, what if the policeman had a bad day? Somebody's just in a bad mood and they just issue things because they're in a bad mood and there's no recourse?
There's no recourse. And that's why, and there's conflict between the police department or public at large a lot of time because of the unfairness, because of lack of judicial system. There's no hearing system. And I personally had a case that they were trying to finalize a divorce here. And the one party said we were already divorced. And I look at the documents. There's no proceedings. There's no service. There's no summons. There's no opportunity to be heard. And it's just favorable to him. And, he decided let's get a divorce. So bought an airfare ticket, went to China, got the document, trying to enforce here. So that's the lack of judicial, a fair judicial system. And I think China is working on it, and we just don't know how long the process is going to take. But hopefully soon that they will, I'm a legal educator, and I'm trying to work on the international study, and that's part of the program that I'm working on. Hopefully we can bring more people in the legal field to learn our system, and just to do a comparison, see if we can speed up this process to perfect the system in China.
So in closing, why do so many parents want to send their children over to the United States for the summer to get a better idea of where they might be doing business later, or what?
In general, I think most parents in China think that the bigger environment in the United States is way much better than in China. It's much a fair market, especially educational market. Children can get better evaluation here and get better chance to get better education. And again, because of the social economic growth of China, most parents have the money, could afford to send kids to here at a very young age. I've seen aging from 14 to 18 to come here during summer or even younger. so that they can experience American life and they can make informed decision whether or not they want to come here at some point in their life, either pursue school or work or just move here permanently. And I don't know if you're familiar about a program which has been really, really progressively getting hot and hot, which is an immigration investors visa. We call that regional center, or EB5, which is employment-based category in the fifth category, and which requires foreign investors to invest $500,000 to a targeted area or regional center, and they can bring the whole family over here. A lot of people are trying to, this is a kind of testing. Like I said, every family has one child. They want to give the best opportunity they could afford to the child. So, and the United States is one of the countries that they all agree that most of parents would agree is a better place for the children to grow and to have more opportunities. A lot of them may not really want them to decide, to come here and to settle down, but for schooling, for education, definitely. And, going back to China after they get a degree and they have more opportunities in China probably at that time, right. And they can do, buy country, Sino-U.S. trade and business, and there are a lot of expand their opportunities. I think that's what the parents all want.
Being able to provide more opportunities for your child.
Yes.
Well, I know we were very fortunate to have been asked to be involved in the event that happened in Beijing earlier this summer, and we sent the group from one of our local high schools that went over and participated in a kind of a glee type of event. It was a television program, and they just went on and on and on about all the beautiful things that they saw. It was John Burroughs High School went over.
Wow.
They came through the community review and went over there. We got them into the program. There was a big television show, and it was a huge musical performance, and they performed with kids from India and several other countries there in Beijing, and it was an amazing event. And they sent pictures of the things that they saw and the beautiful, beautiful just things that were something we don't have in the United States. We don't have things that are thousands of years old.
Yes.
We have things that are a couple hundred years old, if we're lucky. And to go to another country and experience such a rich tradition full of just such depth and history is really, really amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing. And I grew up in China. I grew up in a city, the oldest city in China is called Xi'an. If you know Terracotta Warrior, that's where I came from. So thousands of years old. So, and I still get amazed every time I go back to visit. I still get, I still feel the rich culture and the rich history, and it's amazing to go back and visit. Yes.
Well, I look forward to being able to go over to China and see some of these amazing things that I've only seen in pictures, but I would really like to experience. And I think that now the doors are opening up a little bit more, because it felt like China was a place where we couldn't just generally come, but now it's a place where people are encouraging, come and see and visit and learn.
Yes.
And with all of the trade and, let's say, commerce going on between China and the United States
and education, yes,
definitely,
it's a great. More and more opportunities will actually afford us, give us a reason to go back and forth to visit or to do business. And, you will be, I would guarantee you, every time you go there, you still get amazed every single time.
Oh, yes. Well, a country with thousands of years of history, you could go back 100 times, I'm sure, and not see the same thing twice.
That's right.
Definitely.
Yes.
Well, Kathy Hao, congratulations on being a most amazing profile in life and success. I hope that we have been an inspiration today to not just women, but especially women and men out there, that any dream that you pursue, if you want it bad enough, if you want it as bad as you want to breathe, you can have it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
And we look forward to telling more young women in China all about our How to Be a Girl program, and maybe doing a cultural immersion program next summer.
I'll be so honored to be part of it.
And we would love to have you there. So thank you for coming in. Congratulations. Much success to your daughters. And of course, Mikasa Sukasa, my mic is your mic. Anytime that you've got anything that you'd like to share with us to help open up and broaden our horizons about China and the relations between China and the United States, please come back and see us.
Thank you so much.
Just an amazing conversation, and what an amazing woman. I really look forward to inviting young men and women from China to our summer programs here, and we'll keep you posted as those programs progress, because of course, it's going to be another amazing event brought to you by the Community Review. All right, stick around. There's a whole lot more coming up. How about what's on your bucket list? Have you thought about that this year? And is your family ready for any kind of disaster? It's all coming up next on the Community Review, Hot 92.3.